Keanu Reeves' film Replicas started off 2019 with a gigantic thud. Poorly reviewed and little seen, the bewildering sci-fi drama has earned itself the distinction of being the worst performing wide release of the actor's career. It's enough to make you say, "Whoa." Make no mistake, Replicas is a bad movie. With a 9% rating on Rotten Tomatoes across 33 reviews after opening weekend, it's enough to remind people of Johnny Mnemonic, Keanu Reeves' sci-fi thriller flop from 1995. Is Replicas the worst thing Reeves has done? It's pretty close. On top of terrible reviews from both critics and audiences, the movie landed in 13th place at the box office over its opening weekend in January, making less than $2.4 million from over 2,300 theaters. How bad is that? Let's put it this way, the movie made less money over that weekend than Bohemian Rhapsody did, and that's after the Queen biopic had already been in theaters for more than 2 months.
Got to make an impression, darling.
While he doesn't always get credit for it, Keanu Reeves has always been a versatile leading man. He can anchor action movies and sappy romances, and thanks to the success of The Matrix, he also has street cred when it comes to sci-fi and fantasy. Unfortunately, he seems to have been sorely miscast as the lead of Replicas, playing a grief-stricken mad scientist who clones his family after a fatal car accident. He turns in a good performance, but it's not enough to carry the movie, much less sell the character. Several reviewers have indicated that the role would be better suited for an actor like Nicolas Cage, who would take the crazy concept and run with it in a way that Reeves can't match.
I never misspelled anything! Not once, not one time!
Replicas was distributed by Entertainment Studios, a company which focuses on smaller releases like Hostels, Chappaquiddick, and 47 Meters Down. They're the sort of movies that you would expect to go direct to DVD or streaming, and in the case of Replicas, that's probably what should have happened. According to Deadline, Entertainment Studios sank at least $10.5 million into TV ads for Replicas, which in retrospect appears to have been a major waste of money. Instead of releasing the movie onto digital services to quietly fend for itself, the company tried to sell it as a theater-worthy experience with a wide release, seemingly only upping their financial risk. After such a terrible opening weekend, it's hard to see how the movie can ever make its money back.
What if something horrible goes wrong?
Something already has.
While Replicas has its fair share of unique problems, the movie also suffers from a trend that almost always plagues theaters during the first weeks of a year. While there are occasionally successful exceptions, people generally don't see that many movies in January, giving it a reputation as the worst month at the box office. Movies released in December gross an average of over $1.5 billion combined, but January's average box office is drastically smaller, coming in at around only $405 million. It's a trend that's been around for a long time. People don't want to go out to see movies after an exhausting holiday, especially when the weather tends to be bad. When people do go out to the movies, they typically go to play catch-up, seeing the movies they missed out on before they leave theaters for good. Since audience turnout is so much lower in January, studios tend to use the month to release their worst movies, making as much money as they can while the competition is light. Audiences have clued into this phenomenon, and as a result, many viewers know to be suspicious of January releases. When a movie gets plum placement during the spring, summer, or holiday season, it's usually a sign of a studio's confidence in the movie's quality. When it comes out in the dead month of January, like Replicas did, it tends to suggest exactly the opposite. Replicas started filming in August 2016, but didn't show up in theaters until the second weekend of 2019. After years in the making, it landed with a thud. What happened? There are many reasons why a movie can end up with a big delay between shooting and release, but a long gap is rarely an encouraging sign. It can suggest a movie that's proving difficult to assemble in the edit, or be a sign of a movie that's just so bad that producers have trouble finding a distributor, which previously seemed to be the case with 2018 flops Gotti and Holmes & Watson. A long delay doesn't guarantee a bad movie, but combined with a January release date, it raises real warning signs that in Replicas' case turned out to be totally on point. As big of a failure as Replicas turned out to be, the expectations for the movie were never that high. While it's definitely a blemish on Keanu Reeves' filmography, it's not exactly a career killer. The only people who seem likely to suffer from Replicas bombing are the people behind the cameras, who are responsible for the movie's incomprehensible script, flat direction, and and confusing edit. Those people might be in trouble, but the actors in the movie did pretty decent work, considering what they had to work with. It's been so long since the movie was filmed, it's possible the cast has forgotten Replicas even exists, and by the time 2019 is over, so will everybody else. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite stuff are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.